All right, here we go. It's the second semester. Hard to believe that we've gotten here already. One semester down, one semester left to go, and we're back after a winter break here on the United Podcast. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Isaac Petcash. We're at a new location tonight, and so thankful you're with us in this first show of January. We're here at John Russell Brewery, just off the highway on Peach Street. It is a wonderful location, hustling and bustling, as you can see. Some people are wondering, what are we doing here for the first time? But we're excited to be able to bring you this evening. It is an absolutely perfect evening to start our show. Weather is wonderful. Student athletes next week for class, and we have a packed show for you as we start off the new year 2026. First off, Happy New Year to all of you. We hope you had a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful to the 2026. And we hope it just gets better and better from here on out. So much to get to tonight. So many great interviews and guests, so much great content, and a couple of exciting social media segments as well as we kick off the second half of the season. Winter sports in full swing, spring sports just around the corner. Hard to name a better time in Gannon Athletics than right here, right now. Let's show you what we have on tap for this evening. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk to PSAC 75 honoree Lo Myrick, a Gannon grad and a peak performance and wellness coach. If you don't know what PSAC 75 is, we're going to tell you about it in just about a minute or two from now. Also, a late ad this evening. John Russell Brewery owner John Melody is going to join us on the show tonight. They're getting ready for a couple of exciting kickoff events, including the Ireland trip kickoff that begins tomorrow night. So we'll be talking all about that with him and John Russell Brewery and John Russell Brewing Company and all that they have to offer coming up in 2026. So let's get right to it. We start our show every single week with the dish of the day, and we got a really good one on tap for you. Another amazing creation, this one here at the brewery. Here's what we have for our dish of the day. Most of America loves pizza. The majority of America loves pickles. So why not just combine the two? It is pickle pizza with chicken, our dish of the day tonight from John Russell Brewery. I can tell you for sure, without a doubt, that every single pizza creation that John Russell Brewing Company has, they hit on. It's amazing how great they are with pizza combinations, and I've got one right here at my spot to show you. Pickle pizza is legit, ladies and gentlemen. I had a slice just before I came on the air tonight. That combination is dynamic. And I don't know who comes up with the combos. Maybe it's John, maybe it's their staff. But kudos to whoever comes out with these combinations because they are delicious. Pickle pizza with chicken is the dish of the day. You can come out to John Russell Brewery right now and every day they're open and get this dish. It is truly a wonderful concoction and combination. Make sure to get the dish of the day today. Pickle pizza with chicken. All right, as we get into the show this evening, I just mentioned the PSAC 75, and that's where we're kicking off our show tonight. We have a lot of great ceremonies and honorees that we'll be talking with in the month of January and February with Gannon Athletics. And next Saturday at the men's and women's basketball games, Gannon Athletics will be honoring 8 former student athletes, students, and greats from the campus of Gannon University that earlier this year were inducted and honored as part of the PSAC 75th anniversary. This is the 75th year of the conference, if you can hardly believe it. Gannon's been a member since 2008, 2009. And these 8 that you see on your screen, Sam Perosco, Megan Morphy, Colin Peterson, Lo Myrick, Aaron Cox, Lisa Goddard-McGurk, Brittany Batts, and Austin Ludwig, all were dynamic in their efforts to make Gannon University and Gannon Athletics the best experience it can possibly be. They were named as separate lists. There were 4 lists, specifically 75 members each, for a total of 300. And next Saturday, we couldn't be more excited to honor all of them as they earn this distinctive award, one that showcases their tremendous dedication to Gannon Athletics during the time in which the Golden Knights were in the PSAC. So some of you might be looking at the list and thinking, well, there's no Bud Elwell, there's no, Dr. Carnival. We understand that. Yes, they're great and again, incredibly historic monikers of Gannon Athletics. But this list was dedicated to individuals who were with the Golden Knights during their run in the PSAC. All that being said, tonight we're excited to kick off our show with an interview with Lo Myrick, who was a former great standout with swim and water polo for the Golden Knights and ended up becoming a peak performance and mindness coach, making sure that student athletes and many of us today have the greatest mindset and mental capacity we possibly can. Great conversation I had with her. She does so many things with incredible athletes right now. And as we prepare for the PSAC 75 ceremony, here's one of the 8 that we'll be honoring next Saturday. Our full conversation with Lo Myrick. All right, back here on the podcast, we're very pleased to be joined by one of the 8 inductees who we will be honoring coming up next Saturday, and that is none other than Lo Myrick, a graduate of Gannon and now a peak performance and mindset coach who is probably busier now, Lo, than you were at any time when you were in college. We know our administration kind of knows what you've been doing since, but give us an idea for those who are watching for the first time, what you've had an opportunity to do and really grow and blossom into since you left just over a decade ago.
Yeah, well, it's funny you said that because when I was at Gannon, I was also very busy because I was dual majoring, trying to compete. Not sure if today's the time to get into that, but I had a lot of injuries. My last year was doing an internship at GE. So it was like, and I was on a bunch of committees and all the things. So yeah, it was a lot, but so fun, obviously, so grateful for all of my experiences there. And yeah, I had a very interesting path since leaving. Started with GE Transportation, had a couple different roles there, ended up getting recruited by, after a couple years, 4 or 5 years, got recruited by a biotech company, worked with them for a little bit, and then I started doing we did a couple different business things together. So I started just working in all these different not related industries and did some consulting. And then my last corporate role, I was global learning and development, leadership and development, sales enablement for like 300 people, 300,000, sorry, 300,000 salespeople worldwide. So that was a really wild role. And through all of that, about 12, 13 years ago now, I started going through life coach training. So as I was building all of this business stuff, I added in this life coaching piece. And about 5 years ago, it was during the pandemic where I was like, this just doesn't feel aligned anymore. I kind of want to do my own thing. And I've had that pull for a while. Like I kind of tried it and then was like, oh, I'm not sure. Anyway, made the jump, took me a little bit to figure it out, took me a while to believe in myself, which not sure if we have time to get into that, but that's a very interesting story. And yeah, now as you mentioned, I am a peak performance and leadership coach. I work with athletes, executives, and entrepreneurs on helping them really live happier, healthier, more successful lives. And we do that through strategy, through science and data, through the coaching, through spirituality. So yeah, it's really cool and fun.
I want to get into so much and talk about this in the time that we have, Lo. I think that's a great transition, by the way, in belief, because part of all of this that we're talking about, this conversation next weekend, the PSAC 75 and the 300 that were honored, you're part of the made in the PSAC list, and we'll get into that in just a bit. All of them have persevered. All the ones that were at Gannon have persevered through some adversity. And I would love you to tell us about what that was for you to believe in yourself to get to where you are, because I feel like if there are student athletes watching this, probably a lot are in the same boat as you, right? Where they're trying to juggle classes, they're trying to juggle their team. Maybe they're doing double major, they're in grad school, they plan to become a doctor with a postgraduate degree. What was that journey like for you to get to a point where you believed in yourself?
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Take your time.
Yeah.
All the time in the world.
It's really interesting because actually when I was at Gannon, that was something that I struggled with less, kind of in an interesting way. I was more like, I am just doing all of these things, and I wasn't really thinking about it. It was just like, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, and then I was doing too much, really. But the thought of I can't do this wasn't really there. It was like, I'm going to do all of this. And where, at least in my business, we'll talk about that because that's kind of top of mind for me and the easiest to explain. When I started working for myself and at first I was like, this is great. I can do whatever I want. And then I'm like, oh, I have to make money now. Without like, there's no guaranteed paycheck when you start your own business. And I knew that, of course, but there's a difference in like going from having a stable paycheck to not, and then like, oh, how do I replace all of that or get close to it, right, to maintain my lifestyle? And the belief moment was I didn't know when I started, I didn't believe that I could actually do what I was doing, what I'm doing now, what I wanted to do. But at the time, I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to work part-time or do some other consulting stuff. That's what I'm really good at. It's just not what I wanted to move towards. And once the belief shift for me was, I can do this. You know what? Look at all the stuff I've already done in my life. I have not failed, or if I did fail or something happened, I figured it out. I'm still here and I'm just going to go for it. And that was a couple years ago. And since then, since shifting that belief, it's not like I worked harder after. Probably was putting more effort into trying all the things to make it work this other way first. And when I shifted the belief, things just started coming through, and not like, which I'm laughing because I'm thinking of, I don't know if he's still there, but Kurt, who runs the entrepreneurship program, he'd probably like laugh at me right now, but like the business plan and like, do you have all the like stuff and ducks in a row? And it's like, I tried that. And what was missing was the belief. And then when I just believed and threw all the other stuff out of the window, things started to work.
It's funny that you mention that word belief, and you bring up process too, right? Because part of your great success at Gannon was your years with the swimming and the water polo team and what you were able to do there. But every time we talk about sports, it's process oriented, right? You go to practice, you have a specific set of skills you need to have to attain a certain goal. There's always you right? It's status quo for every post game interview is we believed in ourselves, we believe in the game plan. What in your mind has to be that transition point, and maybe from your experience, to for a student athlete to understand what belief and process looks like as a team and what belief and process looks like as an individual after your collegiate career ends? Because I have to imagine for those who are watching this right now, they listen to what you're saying and they go, well, great, but I'm required to follow a process and I'm required to believe now. How hard could it be after college? What's that difference like, Lo, just from your experience?
Yeah, wow. A lot of great questions in there. So I'll try to start and we can unpack them.
Sure.
So I think belief isn't just going through the motions, right? Like process is going through the motions. Like my coach gives me a plan, I'm following the plan. Just because you're following the plan doesn't mean one, you believe in yourself, and doesn't mean two, automatic success. Belief is I trust the plan. I trust my coach. I trust my teammates. I trust my training. And that is often the difference between the people who become successful long term and have consistent success, rather than the people who have kind of those one-offs. So they're like, oh, I just had like one great performance one day, but they don't know how to replicate it. And here's what's interesting, and I give this example in my workshops. You could have two individuals same, we could do the grades example because it's a little bit easier to understand, but like say they're say have the same IQ, they're the same age, similar backgrounds, similar upbringing, right? Like let's put all of these demographics like equal.
Mm.
They're preparing for a test, they're taking the same class, they've had all the same background and training. Person A thinks, I'm not ready. Oh my gosh, like I'm stressing out, I'm freaking out, like they're spinning up, they're going into anxiety. They don't believe in themselves, right? They don't believe in the work they've put in, whatever other limiting beliefs are there. They might, let's say they study like 30 or 40 hours for this test. Person B is like, you know what? I know I've had a lot going on, but I myself trust all the work and effort that I've put in. I'm ready for this. They study, let's say, 10 hours. The person with the belief and that has studied only 10 hours is going to outperform this person who's put in 40 hours 9 times out of 10. Maybe even 10 out of 10. I don't have real data on this, but um, because their belief in themselves and in their process is so strong, and they're also not doubting themselves. If you're constantly doubting yourself, whether it's when you're taking a test or when you're about to perform, that is creating uncertainty in your brain. Then the neurons and your pathways in your brain are not going to fire correctly. It's not going to connect to your muscles. Instead of you saying, I know I can do this. I've got this. And that's the difference. Does that make?
Oh, much sense. I think it's great for student athletes because it gives them a clear idea of I don't necessarily need, I need to put in the effort, but I don't necessarily need to put in the stress added on to the efforts. It's too many layers, right? The more
Yeah.
simpler, the better. And I think you know that better than anyone.
Yeah. And it's not to say, like, again, when I gave that example, it's not to say, like, oh, this person, they didn't do nothing, right? Like
Right.
they were paying attention, like let's keep it equal like throughout the year. You can't also just not show up and not do the work and be like,
Sure.
I believe in myself. Like that doesn't work either. It's both, right? You need the
Mhm.
effort plus the belief, and then together that's where the magic comes in.
Fascinating transition. Lo Myrick joining us on the United podcast, Gannon grad, and now a peak performance and mindset coach. You get a chance to talk with a lot of student athletes in your job right now. And I think it's so fascinating that you were one of three Gannon alum that were named to the MADE and the PSAC list, the conference the university helped made and shape you into the way that you are today. Now you're getting an opportunity to help mold and shape athletes' mindset and beliefs into who they are today. And Lo, I want to give you the floor here because you're getting a chance to talk with, coach, and support some really incredible athletes, some who are potentially going to be going to the highest level in about a month.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been working with college athletes and including a number of Gannon student athletes. Gannon has been amazing. Lisa, of course, who was the AD who just transitioned, but now I love current administration as well. And we've for years. So I've been able to work with not only Gannon athletes, but lots of D1, D2, mostly D1 and D2, a few D3 schools as well over the past 4 or 5 years. So literally thousands at this point. And then in the past year, what's really cool is I didn't even tell you this, but I started working with USA Taekwondo and their national team. So there's about 5 athletes who went to the Olympics in 2020. What year is it? We're in 26. It was in 24. Who went there in 24, which I wasn't working with them then.
Mm.
That my relationship with them started in 25. And so we've been working on mindset and leadership and culture, and that has been awesome. So now working, at the professional, the highest level. I've also a couple years ago did some work with some NASCAR pit crew teams, which was also super fascinating. And then, this is the part I told you before. I now am working with an athlete who is is on the national team trying to make the US Olympic team
Oh,
for the 2026 Winter Olympics. So very exciting. That announcement, whether if she'll make the team or not, will be on January, actually when I'm in when I'm in town
you're right.
uh, for the event. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's very exciting, but it's been so fun just to work with all these different kinds of athletes and see both the similarities and the differences, but there's core things, like belief, like mindset, teaching visualization and doing these things. And it also doesn't matter if you're an athlete now and then you go off into the world and you stop competing, like you can still use these because that half of my business, I work with executives and teams and entrepreneurs, right? And it's the same stuff. I'm not changing the stuff I'm talking about.
Can you, if you're able to, Lo, I'm fascinated, and I think so many are too. Olympics, we see these athletes, they're insane, right? Their athletic ability is one of a kind. I don't know how the heck they do it. I've always been a proponent of, I think when we do the Olympics, we need to have the normal person Olympics right before, where we have a normal person compete with all these people. Like
Yes.
me going figure skating with these U.S. Olympic figure skaters, it would be hilarious. But and I think it would be a good representation of the incredible athletic prowess, but also the mental prowess. Lo, I'm sure has to be through the roof. When you work with the Taekwondo team and you work with this athlete who's trying to make the Olympic team, is there one or two things specifically, mindset wise, that they just excel in to a man, to a woman, that other athletes can really take home with them? Because I'm sure there's got to be that one thing where you're like, yeah, they have this if they want to be successful.
Mm. It's so different for everyone. I do feel like, which is part of the reason why I'm working with these groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they believe in themselves, right? Like that's kind of a baseline. Like they believe in themselves, they believe in themselves to put in the work and the effort. What I'm working with them on is the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like that I am the best in the world consistently. Or just breaking through other limiting beliefs that are just holding that belief back. So yeah, the baseline of I believe in myself at the highest level is there. There's still more, right, that we're striving for.
Yeah.
Um, Also their ability to put in physical work. Oh my goodness. Like you said, we actually need what you suggested, like a normal person Olympics. And it's funny because as you said that, I was thinking in December, I went in with the Taekwondo athletes and
Mm-hmm.
had them like I went through kind of a practice with them. Like I didn't go through their full practice because I've never done anything like that. But I posted a video and you can see some of the stuff they're doing and like all the stuff that they do and then like what I do. And I was like so proud. I think they taught me 6 kicks, but not even close to their level, right? And just the drills that they were doing, I'm like mind blown. I'm like, I can't do that. I
But
mean,
I'm telling you, you probably were better than 95% of the people in the world. But then we go up against them and it's like, what the heck? I'm telling you, it
yeah.
would be so cool to have somebody put them at the start line against like a Usain Bolt or whatever.
Yeah.
And just
Not
and just see
but like that's the funny thing. And I don't know if you're a tennis fan, but Andy
a
Roddick has
huge,
talked.
huge.
Okay. So Andy Roddick has talked about this on his podcast. And I think there was a time years ago where he played just a rec player and he played them with a frying pan and he still crushed this person. So like it doesn't even have to be Usain Bolt or like the number one in the
Right.
like even the 100th person in the world would crush a normal person.
And it's wild when you get to that level, the difference is not that high. It's funny you mentioned tennis, and I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's our podcast, so we can go and
We
talk
can do
about this.
whatever we want. Yeah.
He was also talking about like I would be $1,000 if they returned a John Isner serve, and I was like, okay, yeah, he serves 100 something miles an hour, but it's one serve in a whole match. How hard could it be? Then I went to the U.S. Open, I watched him serve, and I go, all right, yeah, you can have my money. I'm not taking that bet. But it is so fascinating. It's so cool. You get a chance to work with these on a weekly basis. And I think, Lo, that brings us to what I want to kind of close with in your time at Gannon. You made a really fascinating point a few minutes ago about the fact that you felt the most confident, at least in your early life, while you were at Gannon, that you could juggle so many things. And there are so many student athletes who I'm sure are looking at you and they're thinking, how the heck did she figure that whole thing out? But as you come back to campus this weekend, you get a chance to revisit and maybe bring back some of the great memories that you had with whether it was your time on campus as a student, as an athlete, as the president of SAC. What would be your piece of advice to those student athletes as they try to just balance out the really chaos that is everyday life?
Get off social media. It's so like so easy. So easy. Because not and we had back then, we had Facebook, we had stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell the athletes I work with, like, I had 2 majors, played 2 sports again, and I had severe injuries. So like I was doing all this extra rehab and stuff. And if I couldn't go to training, I was working out in some other way and it wasn't perfect, but I was doing my best. Plus like SAC president, which I was for 3 years, and I loved that. And then I was on committees, and then I was in a business fraternity, and like this is all, before my final year, which I wasn't competing and I was doing the internship, and I still had time for fun. Like, so yeah. And this is again where working with thousands of college athletes has really helped because I've polled them. And it turns out that 75% of the student athletes that I've polled, which I'm sure this number still holds true today, uh, are on social media 3 to 4 hours a day or more.
Wow.
If you feel like you don't have enough time, get off social media. And I always say, do a 2 week reset. Just take it off for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Help like reset your system, clear your mind. And then if you want to go back, maybe put a time limit on your phone. It is such a huge time suck. And we also now have so much data that shows the negative impacts on mental health, on self-image, and can increase feelings of anxiety and depression. So unless you have very strong willpower or have created systems to have boundaries with it over the years, which I've done for myself and I hope a lot of clients do, you just using it is you're not going to be able to become the best version of yourself. You're not going to achieve your goals. You're not going to be present in your life. So I don't know. That's my TED talk on social media.
You know, I'll be the first to admit social media is my job at Gannon, and I don't even have my own social media accounts that I go on. I do what I do for the job, and it's a lot. It's amazing too. You look at your phone and you don't think you've been on X or Insta for that much, and you realize a sixth of my day or a fourth of my day I've been scrolling. It doesn't take long for you to waste a lot of time. Lo, finally, I just want to give you the floor how exciting it's going to be to come back. We're excited, first of all, to have all of you back, most of you back, and honoring others. But what's it going to mean to get to return and be part of this great ceremony and recognition?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's so cool that the PSAC decided to do this. And then, I think for Gannon to be able to put on and host this event, like that's so meaningful and special. And when actually this is so funny because my best friend Julie Kleber, who's on the alumni board, also a former student athlete who I think you've interviewed before, played basketball with Cleve. She is the one who actually found this article like when the PSAC first published it, and I was like, what? This is crazy. And yeah, like it feels really cool, and it speaks to the environment that you guys created. And Julie and I have talked so many times about how great D2 sports are because you can have both, right? You can compete, you can have your academics. I mean, so many in D2, we found, and I still find, so many student athletes are able, like she's a nurse. I had a dual major. That's a lot harder to do at a D1 school. Not impossible. You absolutely can do it. But yeah, I just love the D2 atmosphere, and it felt like a family. And we didn't talk about this, but I was also a transfer student. I started swimming. I swam deep for a year, and I was like, I cannot handle this. Side note, that was also probably due to a lot of burnout, not taking care of myself in high school and giving myself enough breaks, but we will put that aside for another day. And when I transferred back to Gannon, it was like, oh, I found my home. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made because it allowed me a chance to not restart, but to get involved in a school in a completely different way and have the opportunity to be involved in all these things that I wouldn't have done or I was not on track to do when I was at a larger school.
Our sincere thanks to Lo Myrick for joining us on the show. We could have had her on for an hour and probably taken the entire length of this podcast to talk to her. She is just a wonderful human being, does an incredible job with teaching her skill set to student athletes and so many others who are looking to make it big, whether it be in the world of sports, the professional world, or et cetera. We can't wait to have her and the others back for the PSAC 75 ceremony, which takes place at halftime of the women's basketball game on Saturday, January 17th. You won't want to miss it. Gannon Legends returning for one day and one day only as we get excited for what is ahead. And remember how we were built since the PSAC, we called the PSAC home, that is, in 2008, 2009. Here's what's on tap for this weekend in Gannon Athletics. We got the basketballs and wrestlings heading up the charge in what will be the second of January. Men's basketball back on the road this Saturday. 2 big wins, women in overtime, men 101-83 over Edinburgh last night. They're back in action against Cal. Tough game at 3. That'll be on Saturday as PSAC West play continues. How about women's wrestling? Can't wait for Erin Vandiver's squad to get back into action, their first event of 2026. And it's a big one, folks. The NWCA National Duels, pitting some of the best teams in the country against each other. Gannon will open Friday afternoon against McKendree. And then from there, they'll hopefully wrestle a few more duels as well in what is going to be a national premiere event. We can't wait to see Coach Vandiver and her squad heading to Iowa for that coming up, and could be a preview also of what we see more in the regional and at NCAA national championships. Men's wrestling here as well, not at Gannon, but not too far away, crossing over into Ohio. They'll take on Lake Erie in a dual meet. Tom Boyd's team just dispatched Glenville State with relative ease in what was a couple big wins in the home opener. And of course, they're back in action for another dual meet and what we hope to be a exciting event coming up again Saturday at 2 o'clock time of that. So make sure to join us for all the coverage. If you're joining us on the road, you can, of course, cheer on your Golden Knights in person, or you can stay tuned to our website, www.gannonsports.com, for more. All right, let's bring in the man with the plan and the man who is the head of everything John Russell Hospitality, none other than the owner of John Russell Brewing, John Russell Hospitality, John Melody, who is here for yet another great year ahead, John. 2026 is here. It's hard to believe. Like 2025 went by in a flash.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for having me on. Happy New Year to you. You can still say that, right? In the 9th or 10th of January, whatever we're in here.
I'll tell you what, we would say January is a weird month. I feel like the start of the year is odd because you have all these holidays and everything just goes quick, right? We have our sports, you have your holiday parties, and then everyone kind of goes away for a few weeks. You come back and you're just not quite in the swing of things just yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we try to be, right? You try not to. I mean, there's obviously you're very, very busy in December with all the stuff you just said, and just try not to rest on your laurels when you hit January. So hopefully it's a nice crowd here, right? So can't complain.
2026. A lot of, I'm sure, new and exciting things on the horizon for John Russell Hospitality as a whole. The brewery here, back and packed as it usually is. What are you looking for as on the horizon as we start this year, 2026?
Well, we always kick off the start of the new year with our Ireland giveaway, as we call it. So we have this. It's a passport that we've created. You get so many stamps in this passport, and you get a chance to win a trip to Ireland. So we'll do that from now until it's through Paddy's Day, the end of March. We give away that trip. So, if you want to see more about that, stop into any of the locations, get a passport, or jump online, see what we do. But that's exciting. I think that has been really, really fun. This is, I think, our 6th or maybe our 7th year doing this. And some people have won that trip, have never been to Ireland before. And some of these people now have gone back to Ireland every year since they went the first time after winning the trip. So
I can imagine those trips must be awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're good. We had, earlier this year, I think we talked about it briefly. We took 40 people over there for the Steelers game in October. And, any way I can, have a chance to showcase my home country, I'm happy to do it.
I've never asked you, what are your go-to places in your home country? I took a trip there last year. I particularly loved the West End, the Kerry, the Ring, things of that nature. Yeah. Are there certain places you like to take the trip winners when they go?
Well, I mean, that is. I mean, you're in the, the Southwest is where typically a lot of people from America end up in the Southwest. I'm Southeast, so I'm about 120 miles south of Dublin, straight down the east coast of Ireland. And I mean, I love my hometown, you know what I mean? So when I go home, I'm happy enough kind of to stay there. People say to me all the time, I'd love to go to Ireland with you. And I'm like, I'm not sure you would unless we're bringing a group, because I'm happy to go to my hometown and hang out there and, go on a 5, 6, 7 mile radius for 10 days or 2 weeks, and that's I'm happy enough doing that. But there's wonderful parts of Ireland. There's certain things you have to do when you take a group or when you're helping somebody plan a trip. Would be the Cliffs of Moher, down to Kerry for the Ring of Kerry, obviously Dublin, Guinness Storehouse, and there's a lot of different things you can do. But I know that actually we had a bunch of Irish over here on these J1 visas, which is a working visa for the summer at Pier 6 last summer. And I think 7 or 8 people from Pier 6 just got back from Ireland a day or two ago. They all went over for New Year's. So that relationship too is really cool to see that. And they were excited to go. And I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the stories, but I'm looking forward to hearing some of the stories, right?
It'll be good campfire talk for months to come. Speaking of 2026, new year and new opportunity specifically for the United States men's soccer team with the World Cup coming up this year. I know you're extremely invested in it. If your team ends up making it in Ireland, did they make it?
Well, we're not. We're in a playoff here at the end of March, and we play Czech Republic in Czech Republic. If we win that, then we play a few days later, and we're home to the winners of Wales and Denmark, I believe. So, we were out of it until the last weekend. We had to beat Portugal, who are one of the top 5 teams in the world. We had to beat Portugal in Dublin, and then we had to go to Hungary, who are obviously a good team as well, and beat them there. And somehow, some way, we won both of those games. So we're still in it. We're still excited. It's interesting. I mean, we love the World Cup. I mean, it was here in 1994. I got to see the Ireland-Italy game in Giant Stadium a long time ago. If Ireland do qualify, we would be in the same group as Mexico. So we would play Mexico in Mexico City. So if we do qualify, that might be worth the trip.
Yeah, stay tuned. I think we'll definitely see you down there, no doubt. But the World Cup is exciting. Of course, last time we talked, our soccer programs were doing tremendous. And, of course, men making the Elite Eight. You have the women making the NCAA tournament as well. For those who don't necessarily get soccer World Cup, they don't necessarily watch, what does it mean to have it here? And I'm sure you've got a lot of things lined up for people to participate and be active in watching the world.
Yeah, we have another kind of a promotion going on right now, which is kind of you can win going on from now till the end of May, that you can win a trip to London next September, October for a chance to win a trip for 2 to London to watch a Premier League game. So that's another thing we got going on. So we're all about our trips and our giveaways, and somebody just put a pint of Guinness in front of me. There you go. So
that might be part of the New Year's conversations that you have.
Promoting that, and Guinness are helping us out with both of these trips. So we appreciate the work that they do as well. So there's just a lot going on, a lot of excitement, particularly around the game of soccer. Obviously, we'll have Commodores in the summer, and I'm doing the schedule for that right now. At the same time, you're looking at the schedule for the World Cup to make sure you're not playing maybe when the US are playing or some of the bigger teams are playing. So there's a lot of managing going on there too. So listen, the World Cup's awesome. You know what I mean? It's the best of the best. You hope that people embrace it. America always puts on a good show. So I think it'll be very, very successful, and excited to come on June, and let's see what happens, right?
It was cool. I talked to some of our men's soccer players who, of course, are from all different walks of life in different countries. And they said, the World Cup is literally, it's our Super Bowl, yes, but it is a standstill event in our home country. We don't leave anywhere, right? We don't have any other plans. It's almost like Sunday is a day of rest. You do nothing. No World Cup game days. You sit there and you watch the World Cup all day, all 2 weeks. I never asked you the last time that we talked. Do you have an early prediction for who you think's going to win the whole thing?
I mean, you're on this side of the world, so you'd be looking at maybe an Argentina or Brazil, but it's hard to look past France, and but somebody will kind of kick into gear a little bit. You'll see some friendlies now, and the domestic seasons are so tough on players, so who can stay the healthiest is a big factor. Who gets a kind of an easier, prelim kind of a round, and who can kind of get out of that, not having to play all 3 games relatively unscathed. So listen, there's a lot that has to happen, but we'll make a prediction when we get a little bit closer. It's tough to make that right now, but if Ireland qualify, I really don't mind who wins it at that point. You know what I mean? It would be fantastic to see them over here again. But anyway, we host a lot of games right here at John Russell Brewing Company, and we're looking forward to it.
In a perfect world, we'd get somehow an Ireland-U.S. round of 16. Who knows, though?
Yeah, no, that would be nice. Listen, as long as there's good games and it showcases the sport the way we want to. And like you say, when Ireland qualify for a World Cup, everybody watches it. Like the whole country comes to a standstill. And, people that typically wouldn't even watch soccer go, listen, when the national team is playing in a major tournament, everybody from 3 years old to 103 years old is watching that. It's a big deal. It is a big deal, and we'd like to make it a bigger deal in America. And like you say, it's not just the Super Bowl. Imagine if you play the Super Bowl once every 4 years. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It means a lot. The best players in the world, if they're fortunate on good teams, will play in 2, maybe 3 World Cups, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's literally like the Olympics, right? You get maybe 2-3 windows to compete at the highest level, and that's about it. And the nice thing for the Gannon community, of course, is the way I think our soccer teams performed this past year. It gets everyone excited about soccer. That's the great thing, too, about what we have at Gannon is that everyone gets excited for the sports we have on campus, but I think it translates also to the professional sports and things like that. Winter Olympics coming up as well, John. So a lot of excitement in 2026, and I think a year that could feature a lot of really awesome sports stories written both on campus and all over the world.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like you talk about Gannon soccer, men's and women's both had great years and know a lot of those players. So it's exciting to follow them. I think, what the men had to go through and kind of going to New England 3 weeks in a row was a tall order. They acquitted themselves really, really well. I think that women's team at Gannon this year was probably one of the most exciting teams I've seen play in many, many years in this town, be it men or women. They were an absolute joy to watch. Just unfortunate for them. They didn't go a little further. They were better than what happened in the end. And, but you look forward to next year. A lot of those players are returning and, you never know.
And it's going to be here before we know it. We're only in January now, but September's going to be here. But we'll focus on that when it happens. John, I appreciate you, my friend. It's always great to have you on, and can't wait. 2026 is going to be a banger.
It's going to be a good year. We're looking forward to it.
All right, John Melody, as always, wonderful having him on. Owner of John Russell Brewery, John Russell Hospitality, as we take a look at the immediate future, what's happening this weekend specifically. World Cup coming this summer, Olympics coming later this month. Men's and women's basketball coming up this Saturday, 1 and 3 o'clock, and then women's and men's wrestling in action this weekend as well. 2-day event for the women, the men in a dual Saturday at Lake Erie. Again, our thanks to John Melody for being a part of this show. We always love having him on, and he's just so gracious, and we're thankful for John Russell Hospitality for being a part and a major part of our show each and every single week as we continue our show here live from John Russell Brewery. At John Russell Hospitality, every restaurant tells a story of flavor, community, and unforgettable moments. From handcrafted meals to welcoming spaces, we bring people together around a table. John Russell Hospitality, where great food meets genuine companionship. Make sure to visit one of our 6 locations today. And as we mentioned, we are live today at John Russell Brewing Company, just off of I-79 on Peachtree, I-90, I should say, on Peachtree. I'm getting my highways incorrect. Geez, shame on me. Excited for what is ahead, of course, in the coming weeks. We just showed you the schedule. Let's, before we get to our top 5 plays of the week, wrap up with a little exciting segment that we just filmed yesterday. Women's wrestling, we mentioned, heading to the NWCA National Duels coming up tomorrow and Saturday. But before that, they had a bigger challenge in front of them. Many of you, I'm sure, who are watching have seen the Catch the Cup challenge, where one person throws a cup behind them and the other has to catch it with a cup in their hand. It seems easy. It really is. And the women's wrestling team, when I brought this idea, it's going to be a piece of cake. Well, some were a little more skilled at it than others. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, there's probably no official count of this, I think a world record was broken in this challenge. What do I tune to the end of the video? It's a Catch the Cup challenge from women's wrestling. Really fun segment indeed.
Oh, I thought she had it. This is actually really hard. Oh, sorry. You gotta keep it Keep it, I know. Yeah. The cup's broken. It's in! That is harder. I'm out of breath. Yes! Oh, bro! I feel like I'm breathing really heavily. Get it in, bro! 40 seconds! Oh man, that was a workout. That was fun. Good job.
How quick are you getting this? Give me your prediction.
Less than a minute 30. I was gonna say the same thing.
2, 1, go.
That was so good. That was good. I like the way you did there.
Go away. Go away.
Do you want me to go lower or higher?
Lower. Boom.
No. Good job.
All right, so 20 seconds is the record, 40 seconds.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We're gonna make the 8. We're gonna make the record time.
Right.
For sure. Ready?
2, 1, go.
What did I say?
Oh my God.
Frame for frame, I was like, I'm gonna do exactly what Lily did.
All right, can we get this confirmed, Guinness Book of World Records? If any of you out there have someone who works or knows a contact within the Guinness Book of World Records, can we try to get that confirmed? 3.08 seconds to catch the cup in the Catch the Cup Challenge. I have never seen that amount of success in a social media segment in my entire life, but rest assured, they made it happen. Wow, what a segment, what an exciting time, and it's always great, as always, of course, to get to go behind the scenes and do some of those exciting segments with our student athletes, and they love it as well. More fun content to come. We did a lot of shoots with a lot of teams over this final week before the second semester, so that content will be coming out in the coming weeks, of course, with all of our winter teams, and then sprinkling in some spring sports as well as we get ready for the start of the season in the coming weeks with them as well. Okay, let's end the show with top 5 plays of the week. Of course, it's one of our favorite segments. We start with this today. We end with top 5 plays. A lot of excitement to get to. Men's wrestling and basketball were the only home events last week, so let's show you what we got for our top 5 plays of the week. We start at number 5, men's basketball, taking on Lovehaven. How about this flurry, if you will, of saves from the men's basketball team? First, a save on the baseline, then a great save by Lane Sarver, and it ends up going into the arms of Precious Idiaru, who nails a three-pointer. Precious has been playing so well as of late. That's Mackenzie Morgan, not to be confused with Lucas Morgan. Lane Sarver says, I'll take that, thank you very much. Save that away. And then Precious with the 3, knocking it down. Might want to call the National Hockey League. Our guys have some goaltenders that can save a bunch of shots. Great job by Gannon. They end up getting the win in that game. At number 4, let's go to men's wrestling. Logan Salat, nationally ranked himself, going up against a nationally ranked wrestler. An All-American from last year was his opponent against Glenville State. Not a problem. The Gator turn on the takedown as Salat earned the 6-4 decision win, and Gannon dominant over Glenville State 40-3, a team that they lost to last season. At number 2, we could put one of these plays in the top 5 every week. It would look the same. Kissing it off the glass, and the bank is open for number 12 in maroon as Gannon takes care of Lockhaven. It's just so smooth, butter smooth, if you will. That one-touch shot right off the back of the glass and in. Gannon got that big overtime win again against Edinburgh as well. They haven't lost since game 2 of the season against Northern Michigan. Let's go to the top 2, one wrestling, one basketball for you. This is Jerry Echeverria. Looks like he's in a bad position against his opponent, and then all of a sudden says, I'll take that, thank you very much, and throws him on his back for what ended up being a tech fall. Jerry, by the open mat, is ranked in the top 3 in the country at 133. Gannon Men's Wrestling, by the way, is number 2 in the country in dual meet rankings, in tournament rankings, I should say, in 2026. At number 1, though, it's Lane Sarver and the Gannon men's basketball defense as the Lane train steamrolls down the defensive end and says, not today. The crucial block in the win against Shippensburg. And you know, a lot of these plays from the Golden Knight men's defense. This is what they do, and they do it better than almost anybody in the country, maybe anybody in the country by when it's all said and done. That's your number 1 play of the week. Congrats to Lane Sarver. Men's and women's basketball both on big win streaks. Men's wrestling with a dominant performance over Glenville State. Women's wrestling is just getting started. They got a great slate lined up in the coming months as they prepare for the regionals in February. All right, that'll do it for our show this evening. We want to say thank you to everyone who was part of our show tonight. You can see behind me, John Russell Brewery is absolutely packed, but make sure you come down here at some point this week or maybe even later tonight for a bite to eat. It is a great place, great food, including our dish of the day that we'll put up one more time. It is the pickle pizza with chicken. I'm ashamed to say that I ate nearly every single slice during the Low Myrick interview. That's That's how good it is, and I guess how hungry I was. It's a wonderful dish. Great combination. Pickles, pizza, two of Americans' favorites. Pick it up today at John Russell Brewing Company and John Russell Brewery here on Peach Street. Our next show comes to you next Thursday. Same time, same place, 6 o'clock right here at John Russell Brewing. We're at this location through the end of February, so sit back, relax, and enjoy our shows in the coming months here at the brewery on Peach Street. Lots of guests to come next week. We'll continue our coverage of the seasons in the winter and get ready for the spring as well. And like we mentioned, the PSAC 75 ceremony, we're going to keep promoting it Saturday, January 17th at halftime of the women's basketball game that tips off at 1 p.m. We will honor these 8 great former and current Gannon Golden Knights. From all of us at Gannon University, Happy New Year again. Thanks again for being with us on the UKnighted podcast. We'll see you all back next Thursday, same time, same place, about 7 days from now.